When you're staring at a laptop screen trying to decide if it's worth the price tag, the first thing that usually pops up is the fear of buying something that looks great on paper but falls short when you actually sit down to play. I get that hesitation because I've been there, spending a few $100s on a machine that can't keep up with the games I love, or that overheats after a short session and forces me to stop mid-match. In today's review, I'm going to walk through the real-world experience of the Acer Nitro V, point out the moments where it shines, the spots where it trips up, and help you decide if it fits your gaming lifestyle. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the basics of what this laptop is trying to be. Acer markets the Nitro V as a game-changer for gamers who need a portable rig that can handle ray tracing and AI-enhanced graphics without turning the laptop into a rolling oven. It's built around a 12th Gen Intel Core i5-1240H and an RTX 5050 GPU, paired with a 16-inch WUXGA IPS panel that promises a 165 Hz refresh rate. On paper that sounds like a solid mid-range setup, but the proof is in how those parts behave when you launch a demanding title like Cyberpunk 2077 or when you switch to a less intense indie game after a long session. First off, the display. The 165 Hz refresh really does make a difference in fast-paced shooters. In my tests with Valorant, I could see the difference between 60 Hz and the Nitro V's 165 Hz. Enemies' movements felt smoother, and tracking became less jittery. The IPS panel also kept colors fairly accurate out of the box, so you don't need to spend extra time calibrating for HDR content. The downside is the resolution. 1920x1200 isn't a full HD 1080p, and while the extra vertical space helps with productivity, it does mean the pixel density isn't as crisp as you'd get on a true 1080p screen. In games where texture detail matters, you'll notice a slight softness compared with a higher resolution panel. The CPU and GPU combo delivers respectable performance for the price range. The i5-1240H is a 10-core chip, 6 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, that handles multitasking well. I could stream on OBS, keep Discord open, and run a background music playlist without any noticeable frame rate dips. The RTX 5050, while not a flagship, holds its own in modern titles when you dial graphics down to medium or high settings. In Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I consistently hit 7080 frames per second at 1080p with ray tracing turned off and DLSS set to performance mode. Turn ray tracing on, and you drop into the mid-50s, which is still playable for many, but you'll have to compromise on other settings to stay smooth. So if you're a competitive gamer who needs high frame rates and can live without maxed-out ray tracing, the Nitro V hits a sweet spot. Thermals are where the game hard, stay cool slogan gets tested. Acer includes a dual-fan cooling system and a set of heat pipes that, in my experience, keep the laptop from throttling during a 45-minute marathon session of Apex Legends. The fans do become audible. You'll hear a low roar that ramps up when the GPU hits higher loads, but it never crosses into a distracting roar. However, the chassis is relatively thin, and after 2 hours of continuous play, the keyboard area gets warm enough that your palms will feel the heat. If you tend to game in a hot room or plan to push the GPU to its limits for long stretches, you might want to invest in a cooling pad. Memory and storage are straightforward. 8 GB of DDR5 RAM feels a bit tight if you regularly run multiple heavy applications alongside your games. I found that opening Chrome with several tabs, running a Discord voice chat, and launching a game sometimes nudged the RAM usage past 7 GB, which can lead to occasional stutters as the system swaps. Upgrading to 16 GB is a sensible move if you can afford the extra cost. It's not a hassle because the RAM is soldered, but many retailers sell the Nitro V with a 16 GB configuration as an upgrade option. The 512 GB Gen 4 SSD boots Windows in under 10 seconds and loads game levels quickly, but modern game libraries fill up fast. You'll likely need an external drive or upgrade to a larger internal SSD within a year if you're a collector. Battery life is another practical concern. Gaming laptops aren't known for marathon battery runs, and the Nitro V is no exception. With the screen dimmed to 50% and the GPU throttled, I managed about 3.5 hours of light gaming or media consumption. Push the GPU to its maximum, and you're looking at roughly an hour and a half before you need to plug in. If you intend to game primarily at a desk with power readily available, that's fine. If you want to game on a coffee shop table or during a commute, you'll quickly feel the limitation. Now, who should?